Welcome on in, boys and girls, to the WyoNation Roundup. I am your host, Chad Smith, and I am rejoined this week by Mr. Brad Reed. Long time no see, sir. How you been?
Well, I'm glad my golf schedule could allow for me to join you for a change.
Yes.
Probably a nice change of pace for you.
It is. Yep, so it's been good. Thank you to Shay and Brian who have filled in the past few times.
They're way better fill-ins than I am, by the way.
Yeah, maybe. But we can see. We'll see what the people say. You could have a say on that. And we tonight are just on YouTube. So if you're watching this not live, subscribe to the channel. It's going to be very important now. Apparently, Elon has decided that you have to have a premium account to be able to go from YouTube to X/Twitter, which is not so great. So even more than ever now, if you want to catch the WyoNation Roundup, head on over to youtube.com/@WyoNation. Hit the subscribe button, hit that bell button, and when we go live, you'll know. Otherwise, we will try to put it out on X/Twitter. But the best thing is just, hit that subscribe, hit that like, help the channel, and get alerted. Have you been recruiting people, Brad, on the forum or anything?
I have. Well, I post up the new blogs every week or whenever you guys record them, so I do my part to spread the word.
Yep. And then I guess the big thing is when we are on YouTube, you have the chat box, so you can interact with us live. So send your questions, send your comments. See a couple of you watching already, so welcome on in. And yeah, I guess while we're talking about, I mentioned the website. Explain what's new over at WyoNation.com, Brad.
Well, a recent software upgrade basically has turned it into a more interactive forum with a lot more modern tools for interacting with other fans, and gives you a slightly more Facebook-like experience. I know a lot of chatter about, on sports in general is kind of migrated to Facebook, but if you don't want to, be amongst all the boomers chatting over there, you can head onto the forum and chat away with your fellow Cowboy fans or whoever else you find over there.
Exactly. We get a lot of opponents come in to chat with us, which is pretty cool. But again, WyoNation, right? That's the reason we're here. We've never really done this before. So head on over to WyoNation.com. It is the largest free forum for Wyoming athletics in the world, which is 100% true.
That. Sounds good to me.
It is. It is the biggest one in the world because it's basically the only one that's free. Correct. So, and upgraded recently. So head on over to WyoNation.com. That's the reason we're here. And yeah, it's been great. I think you've been there since day one, pretty much, Mr. Brad. And
I was day one.
Yeah.
And I literally was day one.
And I don't know. I think I've got to be close to 10 years doing stuff for you guys. So
geez, at least.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's been a long time.
It is. So yep. So we're happy to be here, and we're just always evolving. So welcome on in. We are counting down the days to football, Brad. We are just, I think, 8 days away now from fall camp opening. July 31st, Wyoming will open fall camp. And as they prepare for their August 31st game at Arizona State in the desert.
It's going to be hot.
It is. So we're just days away. Other news and notes, they did announce Media Day the other day. So it will be August 14th. Will be Media Day for football. It will be in Laramie. I am going to try to get there this year to get a lot of good interviews and pictures for the channel. That is my goal, to get up to Laramie for Media Day, and should be good. So I just need to put in my request and then get my stuff ready so I can record some good stuff for the channel.
Or just tell Uncle Sam to stick it and just take off for a day.
Well, I am. Yeah, I have plenty of vacation. Oh. So don't worry. We'll make it happen, hopefully. But yeah, welcome on in. And we are here to start some position previews. So we're going to go kind of back and forth. between the sides of the ball. But today we are going to start with quarterback, running back, and then I guess fullback by association. Just as well throw them in today. This is a really interesting position group. These as a bunch, and I think are probably some of the strongest position groups we have on the team. But before we do that, talk about it. Let's remind us, who do we have in the stable, right? So we will start with running backs, Brad.
All right.
And as you can see here is the list of running backs we currently have a team. We'll just go through them really quickly. You have this Mitchell Anderson, who's a junior. He must be a walk-on. I don't believe he's on scholarship. Followed up, you have Dante Birch. And for some reason, this site has him from Kansas Flat, Montana, which I don't even know if that's a real place. But he's from Kansas City. So I don't know.
That would be a very new geographical feature to Montana.
Kansas Flat? Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. But he is actually from Kansas City, Missouri. He's an incoming freshman, and look at him. He's a little itty-bitty guy, 5'7", 177.
When I was looking through the roster earlier, I was thinking to myself, I was like, that's a very small person. That was like me in high school.
Yeah.
And I couldn't imagine being a college running back. I would have died.
Then you got Jamari Farrell. He's a senior. He played a little bit last year. We'll take a look at some of those stats from last year before we open our conversation about this group. Then you have another incoming freshman from Austin, Texas, Nico Hamilton. Then we have a graduate transfer from the University of North Carolina, DJ Jones, 5'11", 204. Then you have Dwyer McNeely, who's coming off injury, who's had success at Wyoming. He's a senior this year. Sam Scott, who was the hero of the Texas Tech game last year. He's coming in as a junior. And then, of course, you have Harrison Whaley, everybody knows quite and well. And then fullback-wise, the one the remote is Wyoming native Caleb Driscoll. So
yeah, there is a couple other guys listed at the fullback position, too.
Oh, there are. I could scroll down if you really want me to. Here, I'll do it.
Well, we got another Wyoming native, Kimball Madsen from Mountain View.
Okay, yeah.
Then
there's Cooper Mayland,
who redshirted last year. So,
yep. So there we go. We'll be fair to everybody. Yeah, I wasn't going to show them, but that's nice of you.
You're welcome.
Give everybody an opportunity.
Fullbacks are people too, Chad.
They are. I like it. It's just like
they're the low men.
Yeah, maybe that will replace kickers or people too. Fullback people too. Maybe Rich Eisen will not sue us for saying that. All right, here. So let's just remind everybody of kind of the production from last year of the returning players. Of course, you have Harrison Whaley, first year as a transfer in from Northern Illinois, 947 yards, 5.7 yards a carry, 5 touchdowns. Sam Scott returns, second leading rusher as a running back, that is, 49 rushes, 237, 2 touchdowns. And then you got Farrell there, cashing in 188 on 52 carries. And then, of course, heavy run game. Andrew Peasley last year got 400 yards. And I would just say that Svoboda might be around that number. We'll see. It's going to be really interesting to see how much he runs, but we'll get to that more when we break down the quarterbacks. So we'll just exit out of here for now. But if you want me to bring up the rosters or anything again, we will. But yeah, Brad, just your thoughts on the running back group?
Well, they're a very talented group, obviously. Harrison Whaley, I think they expect him to carry the majority of the load, and I think last year he showed that he is definitely capable of that when he's healthy. He had kind of a slow start to the year coming off injury from the previous season, but I think he's going to be the bell cow for the team this year. And I think the return of Dwyer McNeely is going to be really interesting. He's a kind of a similar back to Whaley in that the guy is just fast. He's capable of just getting in the open field and leaving everybody else behind him. So, kind of having that lightning approach, I like it. And I think Whaley runs a lot heavier and angrier than what McNeely does.
Oh, for sure.
So, yeah, I really like that combination of running backs right there. And, Sam Scott, if he can kind of learn to run a little bit angry too, uh, I think that'll be a nice compliment to the two speedier backs in Whaley and McNeely. So I don't know how many carries Sam Scott will get. I mean, it's going to be a pretty crowded backfield because I think Farrell's going to get a fair amount of carries too. So I'll be really curious, I guess, to see how they split up this load because there's obviously a ton of talent, and we got DJ Jones coming in as a grad transfer, so he's going to be looking for a few yards here and there, even though he played defensive back last season. So I don't know. It'll be interesting, and assuming that everybody stays healthy, I can't imagine that the Cowboys aren't going to rely on running the football a lot because there's just so much talent that needs to be used.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. And very experienced group. You got 3 seniors and then a graduate player. So that's where your bulk of your stuff's going to come from. Now, we should say McNeely, we don't know. It sounds like he's going to probably miss the first couple games of the year. It's not going to be healthy for camp. So we'll see if they have an update in about 10 days or 8 days, sorry, now. What's going on there. And then I guess the big story is Whaley. Now, I don't know if you watched with Shay and I when we broke down media days, but both Jay Savell and Whaley said that he was not healthy at any point last year. And he still ran for 950 yards.
If you watched enough games, I think that was probably fairly clear.
Oh, it was, yeah.
But the guy was still an incredible running back. But yeah, he maybe came back a little too quick, but I think the Cowboys were maybe a little desperate to get him into the lineup and start getting those carries. But
they were, because they were just injury riddled. Yeah, and then he's added at least 10 pounds of muscle onto his frame as well. Mm-hmm. To already a big frame. So, yep, Shay is in the house, of course. Shay's got a couple good notes for you. Hollingsworth is at GA. So Hollingsworth was a former running back for Wyoming. I do believe he retired because of injury, but I do believe Shay is right. He is a graduate assistant on the team this year. But yeah, so McNeely, Whaley, Farrell, Jones, they've all ran the ball at this level, and Scott too. So really, Wyoming's got 5 experienced running backs who could probably, right, for most teams, they would be a solid number 2 or number 3. So Wyoming's very deep at running back. Mm-hmm. And they'll probably need it because, as we've noticed the past few years, you churn through running backs quite a bit because they're just, especially when you're running the ball as much as Wyoming does. Now, the question is, offensively, Brad, is if the offense is a little more balanced, that's going to add even more of a crunch to you because if we're throwing the ball a little bit more, it's going to cut down on those carries, and you got all these different guys who could run the ball. So it'll be interesting to see how the coaches handle this, if they're just going to, if they'll go with the hot hand at times, or if they're going to stick to their depth chart.
Well, I don't know. Savell, is probably he'll get the feel of that as he, learns to head coach and whatever. So there'll probably be some, combination of relying on your depth chart and, maybe going by feel, and hopefully he gets the feel of the game pretty early on in his career and, kind of rides the hot hand, as it were. Just like anybody else in their professional career. Some days you got it, some days you don't. So,
yeah. And then another thing that I wanted to bring up with the running backs is to see in this new offense if they'll be used a little bit more in the passing game, which could be huge. Mm-hmm. And with all these different guys, right? We'll look at the fullbacks here for a little bit after this, but I mean, right, if you're running more of a spread offense, you have the ability to put 2 of these guys out there, right? If you're in a pure passing formation, you don't need the fullback. And if we're going to be more balanced and more open, per se, you could have a lot of 2-back formations where you have 2 of these guys in the backfield, which is going to should make the offense even more unpredictable.
Yeah. And just imagine having, DeWyan, swing out to the flat and catch a pass. That would be incredible. just to see him, take one down the sideline off a swing pass.
Yeah. So we'll see if the screen game becomes more of a thing. But yeah, I think this position group is probably the deepest on the team.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm easily give them a solid A. If I had to grade this position for Wyoming going into the season, I have no problem with giving it an A.
Yeah. Yeah. And, like you said, assuming that Harrison Whaley is, 100% healthy coming into fall camp, and, DeWyan can make a full healthy return, early in the season, there's no reason this group shouldn't pile up, a couple thousand yards collectively.
That is the hope, I'm sure, to take the pressure off a first-year starting quarterback. We'll hit on the fullbacks really quick. We did bring up like 2 walk-on guys, but again, I think Driscoll, who's the name of the other fullback we had back in the day? I think he's quite the athlete and could be utilized in a lot of different ways.
Yeah.
Caleb Driscoll. And so we'll see how he works into the system too. It'll be very interesting because I think if you're going to have the fullback in there, if he's doing nothing but blocking, I think you're doing yourself a disservice. And Driscoll's obviously athletic enough to be able to, even play tight end, line up in different spots, keep people off balance, and we'll see what new offensive coordinator Jay Johnson does.
Shay's got
Van
it.
Manen. Was I thinking of Van Manen? Maybe.
Yep.
Was he the guy who was kind of catch? I guess he had that catch in the.
He was the.
Was it Boise or CSU?
The sheep in the snow.
Yeah. So maybe kind of use him more like Van Manen, who was a weapon at times. Thank you, Shay. And he's a Wyoming.
We got him to live fact check us on the air.
I like it. Yeah, fact checker. We need fact checked. That's for sure. So yeah, running back, fullback, very strong for Wyoming.
I was trying to find it. I think Caleb Driscoll had a really nice touchdown catch last year. I was trying to find the game that he did that in.
Did he? I was looking at the stats, and I don't think I saw him with a reception. Yeah. Hold on, let me look. Last year he had 2 receptions for 15 yards and a touchdown.
Texas Tech, yeah.
He did have a touchdown, you're right.
Yeah, I think he had a really nice reception in that game that was definitely needed.
Yeah, obviously.
Obviously.
Because that game went to overtime, so.
Obviously, we needed those points.
So any final thoughts on the guys lining up in the backfield?
No, I think it's that's Shay's right. He didn't know how to celebrate the touchdown.
He was probably in shock.
Most fullbacks probably are in shock unless you're Mike Allstott. You're probably in shock of when you score a touchdown, or if you played Air Force, one of the two.
That's true, yeah.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a really solid group this year. And, like I said, if everybody's healthy coming into camp and into the first game, or, whenever DeWyan gets back, I can't imagine anybody missing a beat here. It's a really talented group.
For sure.
And it's nice we've got a couple guys that'll redshirt for us too, and hopefully keep them there for the year.
Yeah, right. Yeah, the 2 guys, Birch and Hamilton, were right. Should most certainly redshirt this year, which is great because you're going to need them because as I said, you're going to lose 4 running backs at the end of this next season. So the only one with any experience coming back will be Scott. He'll be a senior the year after. So, and with the way Wyoming runs the ball, I'll just throw it out there, right? You would think that they would be heavy in the transfer portal for a running back and should have no problem, right? They landed Whaley, they've landed Jones. They should have no problem landing an experienced running back the year after this.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's bring the roster back up. And now we'll take a look who Wyoming has lining up at quarterback. Looks like we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on the roster as we enter fall camp. First one being Caden Anderson. He is going to be a redshirt freshman from South Lake, Texas. He had a knee injury his senior year. and missed all of last year because of that ACL. He comes from the same high school as current starting Texas quarterback Quentin Ewers,
Oh,
which I did not know.
interesting.
Yep. Then we have a true freshman here, Dayon Batiste, who was at one point committed to Iowa State, and he flipped to Wyoming late. He looks pretty talented and pretty promising for the future.
He definitely puts out a lot of video content showing off his passing skills.
Oh, does he? Oh, I
Yeah.
haven't not seen this. Interesting.
Yeah, if you check out his Twitter page, he's usually got quite a few videos on there of passing drills he's doing in the off season.
Cool. I'll check
He's
that
been
out.
doing this current off season, I should say.
Nice. All right. Then you got Gage Brook, who must be a walk-on. He's from Sheepville, so he saw the bright side and came north, which was good. And then these are the two guys we'll probably be talking about the most here. Jaden Clemens is back as a senior year, the transfer from the University of Utah. And then, of course, the starting quarterback for your Wyoming Cowboys this year will be Evan Svoboda, the junior college transfer from Snow College, who played a little bit last year, and he will be a junior. So where do we begin?
I say Svoboda was very well. He was named the starter basically Jay Sawville's first day, right?
Yeah.
I think that was a preemptive strike to keep him out of the transfer portal. But yeah, and he was an important part of the bowl game last year.
Very much so. And so just here's his numbers, right? So I don't know if he's the most experienced. We'll look at Clemens here. He didn't throw a pass last year, but Svoboda, he played in 10 games, right? Because they ran him quite a bit last year. He's got 38 college passes, did complete 60%, 200 yards, 5.3 yards an attempt, no touchdowns, 1 interception, just the 1 start at Texas. And we can take a look at that here. We'll go to his game log. Went down to Texas, who ended up the season number 3 in the country, went 17-28, 60% passing, 136 through the air, no touchdowns, but 1 interception. The biggest thing is that he looked poised, right? I mean, we got kind of beat in there late in the game, right? I mean, it was like a 1 score or a 10-point game headed into the fourth quarter.
Mm-hmm.
And then Wyoming just couldn't handle Texas's speed and heat. But, right, you making your first start at Texas on the road at night, and it didn't look too big for him.
Yeah, I think he looks the part for sure. He definitely looks the part. He ironically wears the same number as another 17, and plays an awful lot like him. So it's way too early in his career to make any comparisons, but I would say the profile is probably there.
Yeah, no, he's like in baseball, right? They would say he's a 5-tool player. I don't know what that translates to in football, but right, he has the arm. He can make all the throws. He's got the size. He's got the speed. He can pass. He can throw. He's your prototypical horse back there.
Yeah. He's gonna. I think a lot of secondaries this year are gonna find out that he's gonna be a load if he's carrying the football, and that'll definitely work to his advantage. Just being able to create those plays with his feet. Whether he's as fast as other quarterbacks, I don't know, but I think he's going to be able to create a lot of opportunities for himself, or just being able to buy some time and get a receiver down the field.
Yeah, and that's the interesting part. We don't really know, right? When he's sitting behind a line where he has time to throw, like, what is he? Is he going to sit in the pocket? Is he going to be more of a scrambler? Are they going to run him much?
Mm-hmm.
Because the big question I have about this group is basically you have nobody with a lot of meaningful experience. And as you know, in college football, most teams play 2 or 3 quarterbacks every year just because of injuries, especially if you're running them a lot. So I don't know how much they're going to want to run him early, knowing that if he gets hurt, you're going to have to go to Clemens, which is not great.
Yeah. Yeah, and Clemens hasn't started since I think he started the Boise State game 2 years ago
Correct.
when we were literally down to our last option.
Yep.
And he did what he could, but
Yes.
I think he was the third string quarterback at that time or something like that.
Maybe even fourth.
Yeah, we were
Yeah.
we were in pretty bad shape
We
there.
were in
That
really
game,
bad
as I
shape.
recall.
And we were in that game. We had a chance to win.
No,
Even
like
within
didn't he
playing
throw an
terrible.
interception in the end zone with like 2 seconds left or something?
Yeah.
Or something, that
Mhm.
crazy. Yeah, he played well enough to keep us in a game against Boise on the road.
I think it was at home.
Was it? I don't know.
I'm pretty sure.
Maybe, I don't know.
I'm pretty sure that was at home, but that's fine.
Maybe it was.
So,
I don't know. It's 2 years ago.
Yeah, and we could bring him up here. Let's just look at his stats career-wise.
Yeah,
he didn't throw a pass last year. We can bring him up here. Let me go.
Not a lot there. 12 of 29 for 145
here.
Touchdown and 3 interceptions.
Here we go. So, I mean, he came in some garbage time against San Jose State, went 2 for 2. But yeah, I forgot he played some in the Colorado State game because quarterback got hurt like in the second half. So he did help us win the border war, which is wild. But the next week, 3 of 16 with 3 interceptions. So he completed as many passes to us as he did to Boise. And we only lost by a field goal.
Yeah.
Pretty good. Now, granted, he has earned the job in spring ball. They said he looks a lot more comfortable. So he is 2 years older. So he might be a serviceable backup, but chances are we will see how he plays, because if Svoboda plays as physical as I think he is, I think it's not if he gets hurt, it's when he gets hurt. And we'll have to see what happens.
Yeah. And that's the thing, is when you're sitting third, fourth on the depth chart, your practice, even your reps in practice, are going to be pretty limited. So, headed into this past off season, probably had a lot of opportunity to get more comfortable with, the first and second string, and if he's called upon, hopefully he can put something together and keep the flow of the game moving.
Yeah, but so all in all, I'm really excited to see what Svoboda can do now that he has the keys to the offense. Jay Salvell did say in his Mountain West Media Day talks that basically he's our swing player. Like, if he comes up and plays like I think he can play, he was like, basically like, we're going to be really good and we're going to win like 8 or 9 games.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, so Salvell's not backing off. He's saying this guy is going to decide if we're any good this year.
He's leaned all the way into it.
Yep. So I don't think he would be saying stuff like that if he was worried, obviously. But with Wyoming putting in a new offense for the first time in what, 9-10 years? I don't even know.
At least.
Yeah. It's hard to say what it's going to look like. We can only base it on what Johnson's done in the past with G5 teams, more specifically. And if you're probably sick of me saying this, people, but if you look at his stats and the offense that he ran at Louisiana, I think that's what you're going to see here at Wyoming. It was a power spread kind of offense that they just ran the ball down people's throats, but they were really, really effective throwing the ball, and they were just putting up points in bunches. So I think that is kind of the dream for Jay Salvell and his new OC.
I kind of wonder, just based on what we've seen of Batiste and, what he profiled as coming out of high school, I kind of wonder if I'll be curious to see how his fall camp goes, because I kind of wonder if he would be next in line to take snaps if something happened.
Maybe. Yeah. You don't know because he hasn't stepped foot on campus. Anderson's coming off 2 ACLs. Obviously very talented as well. He was in spring ball, but I don't think he really moved the needle much.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, there's an opportunity for a freshman to come in and get potential playing time if we have a string of injuries, which, as I said, in college football these days, pretty much every team plays at least 2 quarterbacks.
Mm-hmm.
Most are playing 3. It's wild. How many teams you see are down to their 4th and 5th string quarterback? And then it's even crazier, right, when you're down into the bowl season and it's transfer time. And half your transfers, half your quarterback rooms left, and you're playing against like, right? How many bowl games did we see where it was like freshmen who haven't played since high school were like starting bowl games?
Say, didn't Toledo have like a really young guy starting in last year?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
College football, man. That's what it is now.
That's where we're at.
So I was just reading a little bit about Anderson here. Mm-hmm. Same high school as Chase Daniel and Greg McElroy.
Okay. Yeah, I mean it's a powerhouse school, I know.
Yeah, they're really good.
Yeah, and Bowl was on him early. I remember they recruited him really hard,
mm-hmm.
and that's why he came here, because Bowl was like stalking him basically down there.
I think that's what it takes to get college players nowadays. You just got to follow them around everywhere.
Yeah.
Send them funny little graphics through the athletics department every day.
Yeah. So I know Bowl, like personally, was recruiting him hard,
mm-hmm.
And he came. So I hope he can develop. He's got the talent too. He's just got to stay healthy and earn some playing time. But as we know, there's each college team has 4 or 5, even 6 scholarship quarterbacks, but there's only one football to throw. So it's always kind of a moving target.
Yeah, this group really makes me nervous too. Like, Svoboda's not even really that known of a quantity yet. So, we've got 5 question marks on the roster right now. I don't know, man. Like, I hope that first game in the desert against ASU, I don't know. ASU was picked up, finished last in the Big 12 this year, so
yeah, they're not
very good. Pose much of a threat, but who knows?
Oh, they will. That's going to be a tough game either way.
Yeah,
just being on the road.
Just being on the I don't know. I don't think ASU is a particularly intimidating environment. As if you're making your first college start, or your first game of the season.
It's not going to be as daunting as going down to Austin. Yes.
No, definitely not. So I don't know. It'll be interesting, I guess, to see kind of how this shapes up. And if I remember right, I think ASU lost their quarterback from last year too.
They did. They have 2 transfers are coming in. Apparently,
yeah, because I think last year they had Jaden Rashada starting for them, and I think he left.
Yeah, they brought in 2 transfers, and maybe just one now. I know.
Oh no, they have 4. 4 transfer quarterbacks on their or 3. Jeff Sims, from Nebraska. Sam Leavitt from Michigan State. Then
that Michigan State guy's not bad.
Yeah, but he's still a redshirt freshman. Same with
sure, but he's played a little.
Arkansas State.
Yeah, I'd imagine the guy from Michigan State will be the starter, and he can throw the ball.
Yeah,
and he's pretty athletic. So
big roster too. Holy smokes!
Yeah, so it'll be interesting. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, I wish I knew more, but we know that the glimpses we got from Svoboda was good, right? He helped. Peasley got hurt there at the end of the bowl game, and Svoboda led him down the field with a game-winning score.
That was
which
big.
Is pretty clutch. The big thing for him is just staying within yourself, staying healthy. We'll see. I'd imagine that they're not going to run him much, knowing that they don't really have much behind them. But again, maybe not. Right? These are really interesting and challenging questions for this coaching staff to see how they're going to react. To all this. But again, he's talented, as talented as Wyoming's ever had at quarterback physically. Now, again, I don't know about his mental makeup, but it must be pretty good based off the way Salvell's talking.
Just run fast and hit hard. Don't do. Oh boy, I'm not even going to say it. Never mind.
Yes, don't get us in trouble.
No, it wasn't that. I was just one of those knock on wood moments I'm just not going to put out of the universe.
Yeah. So I mean, that's basically all I have to say for today on that.
Yeah.
Obviously, the running back room is a lot deeper than the quarterback room.
So, what grade are you going to give the quarterback?
Oh, the quarterbacks? I mean, you really can't give it a grade.
Yes,
I
you can.
mean,
You have 5 options.
if you go if I go on like potential, maybe it could be like a B plus. But again, I don't know how they're going to react. It could be a D minus based on the way they play at the end of the year.
I was somewhere in the B minus to C plus range.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably going to be ended up being a solid C at least would be my guess. But again, I don't know. That's why it scares me to have a first year quarterback.
Yeah, but there's potential there to get your midterm report card and
change it.
See the improvement to happen. So
yeah, no,
I would say there's probably when we're talking about this at the end of the season, we could very well upgrade this group to solid B, B plus, A minus.
Could be an A.
Could be anything. So
I mean, he could be all as Shane and I were talking about in terms of the Mountain West. There's not a whole lot of returning quarterbacks.
Maybe if we keep the bar low enough, they'll just. I'm sure they're all out there on YouTube right now watching us. So if we keep the bar low enough, there's they can make us look like idiots about like weeks 8 or 9 or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, Svoboda could end up being all Mountain West.
Yeah,
it's very possible.
I don't know, man. Boise's really high on that guy they've got playing this year.
Sure. I mean, he's a 5-star, and he's playing at Boise. So he'll probably put up some numbers. But I'm saying even like a Svoboda was second-team quarterback. I mean, that would tell you that we had a heck of a season. So, So really, it really all kind of depends on him, as Salvel says. If he comes in and plays the way they think he can, Wyoming's going to be really good. And if he doesn't, Wyoming's going to struggle.
Yeah.
So it's kind of crazy, but it may not have to be that way because the running backs are so firm, right? I mean, maybe they just pound the heck out of the ball, say, you know what, we want to be more balanced, but our running backs are so good. Yeah, so there's a lot of things, right? And we don't know because we have a first-year quarterback and we have a first-year head coach.
Well, that's going to be the important part for Svoboda, too, is if he starts feeling a little bit of pressure, he's always going to have that backfield to lean on a little bit and, help take the pressure off.
Yeah.
They're a very proven commodity. So I think it'll be okay.
Yeah.
I think if he's got any jitters coming into the season, Whaley will, help alleviate some of that. So.
Yeah. So there's bottom line is in the backfield on the offense, there's a lot to be happy about, a lot to be excited about, a lot to look forward to. And we just don't know, but that is the beauty of college football, and that's the beauty of sports. We'll find out together.
Have you, now that you bought the college football game, have you run through a simulation of this season to see how it goes? Or
I haven't. No.
Oh,
I haven't
done
that
in your spare time.
Maybe for next week I'll run I've seen people who ran 1,000 of them or something crazy.
Yeah,
and then averaged them out and all the crazy stuff that's happened. I don't think I have the time for that.
Oh, you've got plenty of time.
But I've played the game, and the game's fun. It's good. Yeah. Welcome back, NCAA football.
Does it still, kind of play to what it did in 2014 when we left off with this, or
what do you mean?
Does it still kind of have the same feel to it? And
it's way better, graphically, obviously, because the technology has changed. The stadium looks great. The uniforms look great, right? You can pick your uniforms. They got the new yellow uniforms in there.
Oh, cool.
Mm-hmm.
Is it annoying like Madden is? Because I found Madden to be pretty annoying the last time I played it.
It is. I mean, if you go to if you keep all your controls to the new fangled, the new age controls, it's just not intuitive because, right, we didn't grow up with it.
Yeah, I would definitely be too dumb to play with these newfangled controls.
Yeah. And they're kind of hard. It takes me a while, but they have little mini games you can play to learn. And so once I played the mini games, I got a lot better.
So you didn't switch back to classic passing mode?
I did, actually.
Okay, good.
Because the new one is just I think I played a game and I didn't complete a single pass. And I'm like, they kept dropping everything. Like they were wide open and they would drop it. And I go, what am I doing wrong? I'm sure if I practiced it, I'd figured it out. But
Yeah. Yeah, I think there was a few guys on the forum trying to spin up a league.
okay.
I think Brian being one of them.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I don't know. Maybe someday I'll buy it. I don't know. Who's got
Yeah,
time?
it's a lot of fun. So
Did you build your Cheyenne East Thunderbirds yet?
no, yeah, usually I do a Wyoming State Thunderbirds. Is what I usually do when I do like a school from scratch, but I probably won't do that for a while.
I saw some dude the other day built like half of the Big Sky teams in the game.
Yeah, they don't have any of the FCS teams, unfortunately.
Yeah, that's usually been the case in those games.
Well,
But
they
yeah,
had them in the past for sure.
like 1 or 2 years they did. They didn't have them every year.
Yeah.
I remember I had one of the games for my PS2, I think 3, I don't remember,
Mm-hmm.
and it actually had like Montana in it.
Yeah,
And I remember I was able to sell that game for a lot of money because everybody around here was like, "Is that the game that has Montana?" And I was like, "Yeah, but they're terrible." And yeah, it wasn't hard to get rid of that.
Yeah.
But yeah, some guy out there built like a lot of the Big Sky out already.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sure there's all kinds of mods. They've kind of limited down, right? The trade off is with the new NIL world. You can't go in and you can't edit anything. You can't edit player names. You can't edit their ratings like you used to be able to. So you're pretty much stuck with the rosters, unless you build your own custom stuff, which I'm not. I have no patience to do that.
You could
From
build
scratch.
yourself as the most mobile quarterback on earth.
You could.
Reflect your high school days.
So
Nobody.
yeah, so it's fun. So if you've been gotten it, hit us up. Sounds like the forum's got some stuff going on. I haven't checked it out. I will. I might play a game or two here soon. I just learning it, getting back in the flow. But yeah, the game looks great. That's all I'll say.
I read some crazy thing a couple days ago that like I think there's a team called like FCS Central or FCS Midwest that I guess is like the biggest pain in the ass on earth to beat. So they must have modeled them after like North Dakota State or South Dakota State. But I guess the team is just an absolute machine.
All right.
So spin up a scrimmage with them and see how it goes.
I don't know if you can. I looked. Yeah, I think you can only play them in Dynasty mode.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Right? Because in my game, right, Wyoming plays Idaho this year, and they don't have Idaho in the game, so you play FCS Northwest.
Okay.
In place of Idaho. But I think next year you'll probably see Idaho and Montana and North Dakota, or at least some of the big schools. Probably not Idaho. Maybe I forgot they're good now.
Yeah, they're good now.
Yeah, I forget that they're good.
I think they were picked third in the Big Sky this year.
So
behind Montana and Montana State.
So I think Montana will be back in the game next year, would be my guess.
Yeah, man. Have you seen the money that's been shifting around for NDSU in Colorado?
No.
There's a lot of money like being
bet
on that game.
All right. I would never touch that game, but sure.
Oh, it's gonna be hilarious. Like NDSU is gonna embarrass Colorado.
And that's like that's on that opening Thursday.
Oh, is it?
Right? I think it is. I think it's like one of those Thursday night opening games. Wow. Yeah, everybody's gonna be watching it.
Yeah. The other crazy one I saw was and I showed this to you already, but Montana State being a 7-point favorite on the road at New Mexico.
Yeah.
That seems bad.
Vegan. The Fighting Vegans.
Yeah, that seems bad for New Mexico being that big of a dog at home. They should fix that.
Well, you know what? Bronco Mendenhall, the new coach at New Mexico, will. Maybe.
He will do something. I don't know what, but something.
So, all right. Well, there we go. Close out the show with a little video game talk. And we'll be back next week at some point to break down a couple of defensive positions with guest host or co-host to be announced. We'll see if Brad's available. If not, we'll track someone else down.
See what my very busy social life looks like.
Mm-hmm. So, all right. So, this is the WyoNation Roundup. We looked at the quarterbacks, the running backs, and the fullbacks, and Wyoming looks to be in good hands. But as we said, only time will tell. So, for Brad Reed, I'm Chad Smith. We will catch you soon on the WyoNation Roundup.